Welcome back to Geometry Chapter 10, Section 5 in this book. We're talking about segment lengths in circles. This is very similar to what you learned last time, so make sure you don't get them confused. Review each of them and get them in the right place in your brain. Alright, so this is the rule. If you have two chords crossing in a circle, notice it's not in the center, that let me get my markers here. I'll color it for you, right? Okay. If you multiply EA times EB, so that one times that one multiplied, it equals CE times CD. So it kind of makes sense. There's a, when you multiply two things and they end up being equal, that's really a ratio. Like after you cross multiply before you solve for x. And it makes sense that there would be a ratio of these lengths. So you take each half, multiply it together, and they equal each other. So here's an example. So on this one, I'm going to do 9 times x on one side, 3 times 6 on the other side. 3 times 6 is 18. You solve for x by doing the opposites, multiply by 9. So I divide both sides by 9. These 9's cancel out. 18 divided by 9 is 2. X is 2. Alright, here is another rule. And it's very similar to that rule. So 2 more rules, but they're all very similar. Okay, if you have a line that goes, 2 lines that go through a circle, and these lines meet outside the circle, remember from last time, and you can set up a ratio with this also. Here they were meeting in the circle, here they're meeting outside the circle. This one has 2 chords. What you do is you multiply the little short bit that's outside of the circle times the whole line. So it's EA times EB, not AB. That's where everybody messes up. It's EA times EB, the whole thing. See how I put red dots around it? Those are flashing dots. Hole, 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 hole. It is not the segment. Okay? Equals this short bit times the whole thing. So it's EC times ED, not CD. Okay? And with this one, you don't have a whole line with this one because it is a tangent. So if it's a tangent, instead of a secant, then you square it. So you take the short one, the short piece, and you square it, and then you do the same thing over here. The little short piece times the whole thing. See the red lights going around it? So it's EA squared equals EC times ED. Okay? They probably shouldn't name it ED. There's all those ads on the TV. Kids would snicker about this now. Alright. How about this? Here we have an example. Now, is it that one or this one? It's that one. So we're going to take the short one, 9, times the whole thing, 9 plus 11 is 20, equals the short one, 10, times the whole thing, which is 10 plus x. Use the distributive property, and you get 180 equals 100 plus 10x. Y is x on line, 110, you get rid of the 100 first because you work from what's further away to what's closer in. Minus 100 from both sides, then divide both sides by 10 and you get x equals 8. Alright, here is another one, and it's this situation. So this is our tangent line. We're going to do 20 squared equals 8 times 8 plus 2r. This whole line is 2r's and an 8. 8 plus 2r. We use the distributive property. Oh, this is a tank. We're trying to figure out the radius of a tank. We're standing here. We measured these things. No one will ever do this problem in real life, but oh well. Okay, so now we gather up our terms by doing minus 64 to both sides, then divide both sides by 16, and you get the radius is about 21. If you needed to know the radius, you'd be looking it up on the tank, not about 21. All right, here's another one, and this one is this situation again. So my one, the tangent is 5, so 5 squared equals x times x plus 4. X times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x. I get everything on one side because this is a quadratic equation. If you get this, I want you to use the program on your calculator. If you don't have any programs, you need to get some. Get them from me or get them offline. You need to have a good quadratic equation program. The one I have is called A-Quad, but I've had kids call it Aqua D. But anyway, so use Aqua D or A-Quad, and it would tell you that x equals about 3.39. Plus or minus. You only do the plus one because distances and lengths are always positive, not t. They're always positive. All right. Now the other program that I recommend you get is one that will give it to you with a radical, because a lot of times tests and colleges in the back of the book want a radical. The one I have is called discrimi. You have to put in your A, B, and C term twice. The first time it gives you the discriminant, but the second time it will give you the answer as a radical. And with this one, once again, you would only put down the positive answer there, not the negative one. All right, I think these are kind of fun. I think they seem somehow really logical to me, and it seems like all the formulas are very similar. So I hope you find it fun too. Come back next time and we'll talk about equations and circles, which is something that's really an Algebra 2 skill. You'll get it again in Algebra 2, but deeper. All right, come back and we'll talk about circles. Math is great.